My husband claimed he was heading out on a 15-day business trip and asked me not to call him. He was spotted at T, an upscale restaurant, with his young mistress. I cancelled his black card, sold the mansion, and counted 66 missed calls. Can you imagine pouring 10 years of your life, your very soul, into building a home, only to discover your entire world was a meticulously crafted lie? And the ultimate betrayal? It wasn't just a shattered heart, but a $500,000 scam designed to leave me in ruins. What the hell happened next? It all started as darkness crept in, painting the sky with bruised purples and deep blues. I was out on the patio, lost in the delicate dance of my Phalaenopsis orchids, when Ethan, my husband, appeared. He was dragging a suitcase still in his suit, his tie just a little loose. That familiar scent, expensive cologne, tobacco, the exhaustion of a long day, overwhelmed the sweet, clean fragrance of my meticulously cared for orchids. After 10 years of marriage, I barely noticed it anymore. Much like our marriage, really. He glanced at me, his gaze sliding over me, dismissive. "I'm leaving," he stated, his voice flat, emotionless. "Important business trip. Foreign partners. They need a geological survey of land in the Hamptons for a new resort. Big project." It was just a notification, like a weather forecast. No fatigue, no affection. Nothing. I walked over, pretending to adjust his collar. "So sudden? 15 days? That's a long time." He pulled back, almost imperceptibly, but I saw it. That little flinch of avoidance. "This project is top secret," he warned. "Information can't leak. I need to investigate thoroughly." He took my hand, but his palm felt cold, distant. "For security, don't call or text for these 15 days. My phone will be off. I'll call you as soon as it's done. The house and garden are in your hands." I forced a smile, the one I'd perfected over a decade of being the wise, understanding wife. "All right, honey. You go do something important. I'll be fine here. Go in peace." The clatter of his suitcase wheels on the tile floor, then the heavy thud of the iron gate closing. Just like that, this luxurious brownstone plunged into a chilling silence. I stood in the middle of our lavish living room, staring at my reflection in the vast window. 10 years ago, I, Eva Reed, was an ambitious landscape architect with my own brand, Reed Landscapes. But Ethan, he needed someone to hold down the fort. So I gave it all up. I retreated into this brownstone, designing every corner of the garden, pouring my heart into every single flower. I thought I was nurturing our home, but Ethan's coldness had become a constant. Dinners together dwindled. Affection, concern, it all dried up. He left early, came home late. Always. Work. I blamed myself. Was I doing something wrong? Did marriages just wither like this? I tried to revive it, but all I got was indifference, sometimes irritation. Eventually, I grew tired, too. Only silence remained. This 15-day business trip, the no-contact request, strangely, it didn't unsettle me. It just solidified a cold, bone-deep distance. 3 days later, the house felt cavernously empty. I found solace among my orchids. Phalaenopsis, dancing ladies, purple dendrobiums, all in full bloom, specially ordered from Florida. As I wiped each leaf, my phone dinged. Once, twice, a third time. I sighed, took off my gloves, and picked it up. 3 identical notifications from the bank. My heart lurched. Transaction alerts from the secondary credit card. Ethan's black card. The one on my account, that I'd given him for work. My eyes locked on it. $4,000 charge at Aria restaurant. Aria. The name was a needle piercing my eardrum. $4,000. I checked the date and time. Just 10 minutes ago. My hands trembled as I called the bank. The agent confirmed. Yes, Mrs. Reed, a successful payment of $4,000 was made at Aria Restaurant on the Upper East Side, Manhattan. The Upper East Side. Not the Hamptons. I hung up. My whole body went cold. The fragrant orchids suddenly felt nauseating, suffocating. Arya. I remembered it all too well. 6 months ago, for our 10th anniversary, I'd practically begged Ethan. Honey, let's go there. It's so romantic, beautiful river view. His eyes glued to his computer, he'd scoffed. Don't be ridiculous. Look at the price. A single meal costs one of my employees' monthly salaries. It's for idle rich people showing off. I tried to explain. Just once in 10 years. But he'd gotten annoyed. Don't be so extravagant. We can use that money for something useful. Our anniversary ended with a quiet dinner at home. I'd consoled myself, he's practical. He cares about big business, not trivial vanities. But now, my husband, supposedly surveying land in the Hamptons, the same man who told me not to contact him, was at Arya. And he'd paid a $4,000 bill. What kind of client was he entertaining to be so extravagant? My hands trembled, not from anger, but from a chilling cold that shot up my spine. Had I been living in absolute trust for 10 years? Or in a perfectly wrapped deception? I looked at the pure white phalaenopsis. Beautiful, immaculate. But why did they feel so fragile, so hypocritical? He lied to me. That thought was crystal clear, stabbing my heart like broken glass. He had deceived me. After the initial shock came a terrifying calm. Like a deep wound, the pain arrives later. Now only numbness. I didn't scream. I didn't break things. I just walked inside, poured myself a glass of ice water. The cold liquid going down my throat, clearing my mind. My brain clicked into gear. What should I do? Call him immediately? Scream. Where are you? What are you doing? Only to hear another, more elaborate lie? No. I'd wasted 10 years trusting him. I couldn't be a fool for another second. The truth. I needed the truth. I scrolled through my contacts. Mom? No, her heart condition. I needed someone with a cooler head, someone who could act. My eyes stopped on Chloe. My best friend since college. Unlike me, she hadn't given up her career. Chloe was a sharp, independent lawyer who detested hypocrisy. If anyone could help, it was her. I called. She picked up on the second ring, cheerful as always. What's up? Did the lady of the brownstones suddenly miss her poor friend, or do you have another flower project? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. It still came out choked. Chloe, are you free? I need your help. Her voice turned serious instantly. She knew I wasn't joking. I'm at the office. What's wrong? Your voice sounds strange. What did Ethan do to you? I'm not sure. I sorted through the fragments. Ethan said he went to the Hamptons for 15 days. Top secret project. No calls, no messages. Secret? Chloe scoffed. Smells fishy. A secret from his own wife? What is this, 1950? I cut her off. 15 minutes ago, the black card on my account was used to pay $4,000 at Arya Restaurant on the Upper East Side. A few seconds of silence on her end. The silence of a lawyer analyzing a case. Arya? She asked, her voice low. The French place you wanted to go to for your 10th anniversary? The one he called extravagant? Yes. My throat burned. That bastard, she hissed. I told you not to trust him too much. $4,000 is definitely a problem. What do you want now? Should I send someone over? No, I said. Firmly. Not a scandal. Not yet. I need the truth. You're a lawyer. You have methods. Investigate who he's with. Arya's a luxury spot, they'll have cameras, reservation lists. Understood, Chloe replied concisely. Send me the card info, your account number, a clear photo of Ethan. I have contacts. But Ava, are you really okay? I looked at my orchid garden. The white petals were still beautiful. But why did they feel so fragile, so luxurious? I don't know. But don't worry, I won't fall apart. I hung up. I knew from that moment, my life would never be the same. I don't know how long I sat motionless. The sun had set, leaving only an orange trail. Tonight, the orchid scent was nauseating. I didn't eat. The only sound was the grandfather clock in the living room, each tick a hammer blow to my empty chest. I tried to deceive myself. Maybe it's an important business partner. Maybe a female CEO. Maybe $4,000 is just a deposit. I clung to that faint hope, but it shattered around 10 p.m. when my phone buzzed. A message from Chloe. Take a deep breath, sit down, then open this. My hands trembled. I told her I wouldn't fall apart, but my body was betraying me. Blood drained from my face, my hands and feet turned to ice. I clicked the video file. 30 seconds long. It looked like it was filmed surreptitiously, maybe from another table, or security footage. The angle wasn't perfect, but those 30 seconds were enough to end my 10-year marriage. It was Ethan. Wearing the same suit I'd ironed for him that morning. Jacket off, relaxed. In the opulent setting of Aria. And he wasn't alone. Across from him sat a very young woman. Long, light brown hair, fair skin, wearing a wine-colored silk slip dress. I recognized her. My heart sank. It was Charlotte, the new intern at Ethan's company. I'd met her 3 months ago when I brought him lunch at the office. He'd introduced her casually. This is Charlotte, an intern. She'd bowed politely. Hello, Mrs. Reed. With such delicious food, it's no wonder Mr. Cole praises you so much. In this video, Ethan was using a silver fork to carefully place a large piece of lobster on Charlotte's plate. He smiled with a sweetness and affection, his eyes filled with a deep passion I hadn't seen in maybe 5 years. Charlotte laughed, then leaned across the table and used her finger to wipe sauce from near Ethan's mouth. A blatant, intimate gesture. Ethan didn't pull away. He took her hand, brought it to his lips, and kissed it. 30 seconds. The video ended. I dropped the phone. It hit the cold granite floor with a dry clack. I had been betrayed. Not a business partner. Not a fleeting fling. A deep, secret relationship. He was using my money, the card I gave him, to wine and dine a girl half my age. Pain constricted my chest, but strangely, I couldn't cry. The tears had dried up long ago. Nausea rose in my throat. I'd given up my brilliant career. I'd sacrificed my youth to be the stable support for this liar. I'd tended my garden, only to discover a venomous snake within it. The phone lay dark on the floor. But the 30-second video replayed in my head, a slow-motion movie I couldn't turn off. Ethan holding Charlotte's hand. The loving smile. The kiss. Each scene a blade stabbing my already hardened heart. I slid down the cold wall onto the floor. This brownstone, this garden. For 10 years I thought it was my heaven, the fruit of my sacrifice. It was just a gilded cage. And I was a bird that had locked itself in, while the owner went looking for another, younger bird. The phone rang. Chloe. I took a deep breath, fighting the tremor in my voice. I picked up. I got it. Did you see it? Chloe's voice was urgent, full of rage. I couldn't answer. My throat was tight. That bastard. Ethan. That damn bastard! Chloe cursed, unable to stay calm when her friend was hurt. That girl is Charlotte, the intern. Her face looked familiar. What are you going to do now? Are you going to go over there and smash everything? Chloe? I interrupted. My voice was quiet, but devoid of emotion. Without tears. Huh! Chloe stopped, surprised by my unnatural calm. Are you at the office now? Yes, I am. I was waiting for your call. You are my lawyer, right? Of course I am. What are you saying? I'm your friend. I took a deep breath. The coldness from my heart spread throughout my spine. I don't need you to be my friend. I need you to be my lawyer. You need to be colder than me. Silence again. I knew Chloe understood. She switched from furious friend to professional lawyer. Speak. I'm listening. Her voice was sharp, clinical. First, I stood up, walking to the desk where house documents, bank books, and deeds were kept. Prepare the procedures to immediately freeze all of our joint marital accounts. Freeze? Chloe asked, a hint of surprise. Are you sure? He'll find out immediately. He'll call you. He'll find out, I replied, my voice firm. But it will be too late for him. This brownstone is in both our names. My parents' down payment became joint property. I can't let him touch the assets. I noticed the change. My beloved husband, Ethan, had died in that 30-second video. What remained was a stranger named Ethan Cole. Understood, Chloe said. But to freeze joint accounts, we need a valid reason. You need to file for divorce first. That gives us the legal basis for an emergency freeze. No, I said. Not now. If I divorce now, I'm giving him and that woman freedom. I need another reason. I don't want court yet. I looked around the well-appointed room. Chloe, if I report to the bank, as the primary cardholder, that I suspect my husband is committing fraud or using marital property for illegal purposes, would that be enough for a temporary freeze? Chloe was silent for a few seconds. Legally, it's sufficient. The bank has the right to suspend to protect client assets, especially if you're a VIP client. But it will cause a scandal. I need a scandal, I said. I want him to realize I'm not the idiot he's been manipulating for 10 years. I hung up. I allowed myself not a second of regret or fear. If pain doesn't kill you, it turns you into steel. My heart felt harder than stone. 10 years. I was a submissive wife for 10 years. I stepped back. This was the price. I immediately looked up Mr. Davies' number. Director of Preferred Client Services at the VIP Bank. He managed my accounts for 5 years, always polite, calling on holidays, sending flowers. Now was the time for those preferred services. It was almost 11 p.m., but he answered on the third ring. Mrs. Reed, good evening. Calling me at this hour? Is there an emergency? Mr. Davies. My voice was surprisingly calm, allowing no interruptions. I'm calling about an emergency. I need you to handle 2 things immediately. First, cancel the secondary credit card. Immediately. The card number is... I clearly read out Ethan's black card number, one I'd memorized from paying his statements every month. Cancel? Right now? Mr. Davies sounded shocked. Ma'am, this is a maximum limit VIP card. Mr. Cole is on a business trip. He might have an emergency. I know. I cut him off. And I am requesting the cancellation. I am the primary holder. I have the right. Cancel it now. Yes. Yes. Understood. I'll block the card immediately. What's the second matter? His voice was already tense. The second matter is... I took a deep breath. I am Ava Reed, co-owner of the joint accounts. I clearly gave him the numbers of our 3 joint accounts, checking, stock, and the $50,000 savings. I request the bank to apply an emergency measure to temporarily freeze all transactions from these accounts. This time, he was silent longer. I could hear him suck in his breath. Mrs. Reed, could you tell me the reason? This is very complicated in terms of procedure since Mr. Cole is also a co-owner. The reason is... I emphasized each word. I, the primary owner of the majority of the assets, have sufficient grounds to suspect that my husband, Mr. Ethan Cole, is using the joint assets for illegal purposes and committing fraud. And he is currently showing signs of liquidating assets. Fraud. Illegal. Liquidating assets. I pronounced these words clearly, concisely. The legal terms Chloe had told me to use. The director genuinely panicked. Ma'am, calm down. This matter is very serious. If you say so, according to client protection regulations, I will immediately notify the system to temporarily block all online and over-the-counter transactions. Please come to the nearest branch tomorrow at 8 a.m. to sign the paperwork. Good. I'll be there tomorrow at 8 a.m. I replied. I don't want a single dollar withdrawn from those accounts from this moment on. Do you understand? Yes, understood. I'll process it immediately. I hung up. The room fell silent. I looked at my hand, still clutching the phone. It wasn't trembling. For 10 years, these hands had cooked, cleaned, planted flowers, massaged him. Now, with these same hands, I was freezing everything that was his. I had cut off his financial channel. His retreat. The $4,000 appetizer at Aria was truly expensive. Now, it was time for me to serve the main course. I didn't know how Ethan would react when his black card was declined, when he couldn't access any accounts. But I knew he would call me soon. And I was ready. I couldn't sleep. I sat in the armchair on the patio, staring at the dark orchid garden. My mind was just as dark. Every time I closed my eyes, that 30-second video played with cruel clarity. Ethan's kiss, Charlotte's laugh, the $4,000 bill. A pantomime mocking the 10 years of my youth buried in this brownstone. At 7:05 a.m., I arrived at Chloe's office. My eyes were swollen, my face pale. I knew how miserable I looked. Chloe emerged from the conference room. Tailored black suit, hair pulled back, sharp and authoritative. Her usual cheerful eyes were replaced by suppressed rage. She pushed a hot coffee into my hands. Drink it. You look like death warmed over. I shook my head. My throat was dry. I can't. Did you finish everything? Chloe sat across from me, arms crossed. Finished. At 8 o'clock, I sent your confirmation paperwork to the bank director. Everything's frozen. His black card is now a useless piece of plastic. For a moment, relief washed over me, but it didn't fill the void. Thank you? Chloe looked at me, a penetrating gaze. Ava, now answer me calmly. I'm asking you as your lawyer. What do you want? Just to give him a warning, vent your anger? Or do you want a divorce? Divorce. The words sounded so strange, so painful. For 10 years, I'd given up everything to be his wife, abandoning Reed Landscapes. Divorce? I honestly didn't know. When I fell silent, Chloe sighed, stood up, and paced. Look, if you just want to warn him, Ethan will come back. He'll kneel, beg forgiveness, swear heaven and earth will fall before he changes. And then what? He'll go back to his old ways, but next time, he'll be more secretive, more cunning. You'll live your whole life in doubt. I looked at Chloe. The restaurant kiss flashed before my eyes. No. I can't take it anymore. Then it's divorce. Chloe said, a certainty, not a question. If you decide to divorce, you have to be ready to fight. Ethan isn't an idiot. He and his family won't let you go easily with anything. I want a divorce. My voice was suddenly clear. But before I divorce, I want to know exactly what I had for the last 10 years, and what he secretly took from me. Chloe smiled. A cold, calculating smile. Good. This is the Ava Reed I know. She pulled up a chair, opened a folder. Preliminary investigation. The biggest asset is the brownstone. In both your names. I nodded. It was like a wedding gift from my parents. They'd put up most of the money. I froze the joint savings and stock accounts. Chloe continued. The problem is, he surely has personal accounts. Do you know his exact salary? I hesitated. He told me the company held his salary and bonuses in a deferred compensation fund. He only gave me $2,500 a month for household expenses, house management, and garden maintenance. Chloe scoffed. $2,500? You believe that, Ava? He's a senior director, in charge of billion-dollar projects. And his take-home pay is only $2,500? He's been playing you for 10 years. I bowed my head. That house, that garden. It was the passion of my 10 years. But now it's nothing more than a luxurious cage full of lies. Sell it. My voice was dry. Put it on the market immediately. But we have to sell it fast, before he reacts and tries to stop it. Chloe looked at me, surprise turning to approval. Good. Very decisive. I'll call a trusted real estate agent immediately. Now go home, eat something, get some sleep. Looks like a storm's brewing. The storm didn't wait. It arrived that same night. I sat on the steps by the koi pond, watching the colorful fish. They lived in their small world, fed every day, probably never knowing betrayal. My phone vibrated. My husband appeared on the screen, a name saved 10 years ago, now a mockery. I didn't answer. I just watched it ring, go to voicemail, then ring again, as if in a fit of rage. I counted. 1 call. 2 calls. 10 calls. My phone rang again when I was discussing the quick sale of the brownstone with Mark, the agent Chloe recommended. He was a polite, middle-aged man. Mrs. Reed, aren't you going to answer? It seems urgent. I forced a smile. No, probably just spam. I blocked those numbers. I put it on silent. In my mind, I knew the rage on the other end was growing. After Mark left, the house fell silent. I checked my phone. 66 missed calls. 66. What a number. I laughed, but it felt like crying. Not because he missed me. Not because he worried. Because he couldn't spend money. My fingers trembled as I scrolled. He'd been calling like a madman for 2 hours. He'd probably tried to take his mistress shopping after their extravagant meal, or pay for a 5-star hotel. And it failed. Just then, a new notification. You have a new voicemail. My heart skipped a beat. What had to come, had come. I took a deep breath, hand steadying, and brought the phone to my ear. I had to listen. I had to know his reaction. After a beep, Ethan's voice screamed. Ava! How could you? Why did you suddenly cancel the card? How am I supposed to get back to the States? In that enraged sound, I searched for a trace of regret or concern. Nothing. Only rage. He wasn't angry because I discovered his infidelity. He was angry because I cut off his money. Because I, the housewife he looked down on, dared to humiliate him. Instead of pressing redial, I went to my messaging app. I changed my profile picture. The happy 5th anniversary photo of us. Deleted. In its place, a photo of me, alone, next to a dendrobium orchid in full bloom. I was smiling. Then I didn't send a text. I called him directly. He answered almost instantly, as if he'd been glued to the phone. Ava! You! He tried to scream again, but before he could finish, I spoke. Yes. My voice was clear, calm, cold. My composure seemed to surprise him. How did your top-secret geological survey in the Hamptons end up on the Upper East Side in Manhattan? There was silence. A chilling silence. I could hear his heavy breathing. He was trying to construct another lie. You! What nonsense are you talking about? His voice dropped. No longer screaming, but probing. Panic was evident. Who? Who told you that? Ah! I prolonged my voice sarcastically. Perhaps your partner said so. The brown-haired partner in a red dress sitting at Aria? Isn't it a bit extravagant to entertain with a $4,000 meal? You were spying on me? His voice turned threatening. The rage of being caught replaced confusion. I don't care, I replied frostily. Your job is to entertain. I paused. Oh, and I forgot to inform you of one thing. What thing? He asked cautiously. The brownstone on the Upper East Side, I said and smiled. I knew he couldn't see me, but I felt a strange satisfaction. I've put it up for sale. The real estate agent called this morning, says there are clients offering a good price. We'll probably sign papers this weekend. What? This time, he really screamed. A sharp shriek of extreme panic and rage. Are you crazy, Ava Reed? How dare you? That's my house. It's our house. You have no right to do that until I get back to the States. Get back to the States. I raised my voice, no longer maintaining composure. You had no right to rent a restaurant to spend our money on your mistress. I froze the accounts, cancelled the black card, and the house will be sold soon. I hope your survey was pleasant. Now figure out how you'll get back to the States. I didn't wait for him to rant. I pressed the end call button. I knew Ethan, cornered, would call his ally. His greatest ally, his mother, Eleanor. I'd been her daughter-in-law for 10 years. I understood this family's strange sense of unity, especially when protecting their precious son. An hour after my call with Ethan, my phone rang. Eleanor. Once, I'd saved that name with respect. Now, it only brought infinite fatigue. I took a deep breath, tried to sound normal. Hello, Eleanor. Immediately, without a greeting, miserable crying poured into my ear. It sounded like the wailing from a soap opera she loved. Oh my God, Ava! How could you do this to your husband? Will you only be satisfied when that boy dies on the street? I stayed silent, letting her cry. I'd seen this act for 10 years. Every small marital conflict, she'd use tears to resolve it, always ending with me apologizing. Since I didn't react, her crying stopped, as abruptly as a switch. She snapped to a sharp tone. Are you going to keep playing dumb? Ethan just called me. He was crying. He said you froze his card and accounts. What are you doing? Who do you think that boy is suffering for? It's for this house. It's for you. How could you be such an unreasonable, inconsiderate woman? Unreasonable? I repeated the word. It was a dull knife in my ear. I laughed. A cold laugh. Eleanor, am I the unreasonable one, or is your son? He told me he went to the Hamptons to investigate, but he used $4,000 of our money to dine at a luxury restaurant on the Upper East Side with another woman. In your eyes, that's him suffering for me? A chilling silence. I knew Ethan wouldn't have told his mother these costly details. But I underestimated her. Eleanor was a seasoned actress. After a few seconds of surprise, she changed the script. The crying returned, more miserable. Oh, sweetie, I know. I know you're hurt. But you have to understand, men can't help but fall into temptation. Maybe he made a temporary mistake. If you make a scandal like this, people will laugh at our family. You have to handle this privately. Patience is a woman's virtue. If you sell the house, where will the children grow up later? Think about it. Mistake? I felt like crying, but I actually laughed. Eleanor, where is there a $4,000 mistake? I sacrificed my career at Reed Landscapes to serve at home. And he's using our money to entertain a young woman half my age. You! She stopped crying again, turning nasty. What are you saying so disrespectfully? How dare you talk to your mother-in-law like that? I'm not speaking disrespectfully. I cut her off. My voice was colder than ice. I'm just telling the truth. I can no longer be the cash cow this family makes fun of. If you don't reactivate the accounts now, don't blame me for becoming a monster. I'll go to your house right now, she threatened. I didn't give her a chance to continue. I hung up with determination. I slumped onto the cold floor. Infidelity. That's how all men are. Everyone knew. They knew, and they defended it. They took my sacrifice for granted, considered his betrayal a small mistake. This whole family was rotten to the core. I had no doubts left. After the call, I sat dazed on the cold floor for hours. This family wasn't just defenders. They were accomplices. Together, they put on a play, and I was the only stupid character who believed it was real. The pain of emotional betrayal had now turned into rage over the betrayal of intimacy and trust. For 10 years, I'd considered Eleanor my own mother. What I got was a knife in the back. I didn't cry anymore. Maybe my tears dried up last night. Or maybe the rage froze them. I just felt infinite disgust. The next morning, I woke with swollen eyes. I tried to swallow oatmeal, but my throat was dry. Eleanor's call was poison. It killed my last affection, my last illusion about the family I'd clung to. As I sat soullessly in my orchid garden, my phone dinged. Unknown number. I didn't want to open it, but a premonition made me click. The account name was Charlotte. The profile picture, a young woman pouting. The first message, without a greeting, was just a photo. A luxury yacht. blue sea, clear sky. Charlotte, Ethan's mistress, in a red bikini, flaunting her youth and vitality, a winner's smile. But what paralyzed me was Ethan's clear reflection in her designer sunglasses. Shirtless, holding a glass of wine, taking the photo. That man. My husband. The same one who screamed yesterday that he was humiliated because he had no money. The same one his mother cried about, saying he was suffering far away. It turned out they still had cash. They'd planned this trip meticulously. They were enjoying, celebrating their triumph with our money. My hands trembled. I was her age once, too. I was the pride of the brilliant Reed landscapes. But I left that brilliance to be a wife. It turned out I was just a foolish guardian of the safe, watching over the money so he could give it to another woman. Ding. Another message from her. Mrs. Reed, Mr. Cole said you are a wise person. He said, now that you are older, you should know when to let go if you want to keep your last bit of dignity. Older. Dignity. She was trying to provoke me. She wanted me to go crazy, make a scandal, so she could play the innocent victim harassed by the old wife. I stared at the photo for 10 seconds. No rage, no jealousy. Just disgust, like seeing a triumphant fly on a plate of cold food. I didn't answer. I didn't curse. I did 2 things silently. First, I saved the photo and message to an email folder titled Evidence. Second, I deleted the conversation and blocked her number. This childish provocation wasn't worth my attention. My fight wasn't a social media spat. My fight was a legal battle, a battle for assets. I didn't need the dignity she offered. I needed everything that was mine. My biggest asset was this brownstone. The product of my 10 years of passion, my parents' wedding gift. I couldn't let it fall into their hands. I called Mark, the real estate agent. My voice was calm, clear. Mr. Mark, I've decided. I need to sell urgently. Can you speed up the process, even if we lower the price a bit? Mark sounded surprised but professional. Mrs. Reed, don't worry. Your house is a rare gem. It's well loved. And you, the landscape architect, designed the garden personally. Clients who saw the photos are captivated. I smiled sadly. Captivated. I was the one who loved this house the most. Mr. Mark, this orchid garden is the soul of the house. Tell the clients, if they really want to buy, please let them keep it. Rest assured, Mark replied. I'll find you a worthy new owner. I thought a quick sale would take weeks, months. I was wrong. The power of money, the appeal of this house, were greater than I thought. 2 days later, Mark called, euphoric. Mrs. Reed, good news. Very good news. My heart pounded. What is it? We have a client, he almost shouted. Not just a client, a heavyweight client. Americans returning to the States. They said they were speechless when they saw the photos. They said the house has very good energy, and your orchid garden is beautiful. I listened in silence. Mark continued excitedly. They don't want to see it in person. They trust your design. They want to put down the earnest money deposit immediately. They didn't haggle a single cent off the asking price. They only have one request. What request? I asked, anxious. They want to buy your entire orchid garden. Mark hesitated. They said the house would lose its soul without it. They're willing to pay an additional $25,000 for all your precious orchids and maintenance costs. They asked you not to take anything, leave it as is. $25,000. I stood in a daze. My 10 years of youth. The 10 years I gave up Reed Landscapes. 10 years of watering, fertilizing, pruning. Valued at $25,000. It was ridiculous, yet at the same time, I felt recognized. At least someone recognized the value of my silent sacrifice, even if they didn't know the story behind it. Okay. My voice was choked. Tell them. I accept. I'll leave everything. Excellent. Mark rejoiced. So, can we schedule the signing of the purchase agreement for this weekend? They want to pay 90% cash in one go. I hung up, looked at the garden. For 10 years, it was my joy, my pride, the gilded cage that trapped me. Now, it was the key that freed me. Goodbye, my private Reed Landscapes. Thank you for giving me my first $25,000 to start a new life. The news spread like wildfire. That I froze the accounts, put the brownstone up for sale. I assumed Ethan and his mother, in their rage, must have called everyone they knew to slander me, to paint me as the cruel, heartless wife. And then the well-meaning people started calling. First, Laura, Ethan's cousin. I'd always respected her. Ava. Her voice was awkward. I heard what happened. Ethan was wrong. Very wrong. I gave him a piece of my mind. But Ava. She hesitated. You're a woman. You have to understand men are weak. He made a mistake. If you make a scandal, it embarrasses the whole family. Handle it privately. You have to be patient. That's what being a wife is about. If you sell the house, where will the children grow up? Think about it again. I hung up. I didn't want to hear any more. Patience. I was patient for 10 years. Patient to the point of losing my career, my youth. And now I was supposed to be patient so he could give my money to his mistress? The second call was from Andrew, Ethan's best friend. Ava, it's Andrew. I really laid into Ethan. But you're his wife. You have to understand his temper. If you cut off all his money, how is he supposed to live? He's stuck abroad. If he does something impulsive, it's not good for you if he collapses. You have to give him a way out. A way out? I felt like crying, but I laughed. Who gave me a way out when I gave up Reed Landscapes to be a housewife? Who gave me a way out when he embraced a young mistress at Aria? I didn't answer Andrew. I hung up again. Then came a flood of persuasive messages. College classmates. The lady next door, worried because I didn't look happy lately. They all advised me to calm down, think about it again, forgive. I was fed up. Fed up with this hypocritical advice. They didn't live my life. They weren't in this house. They didn't know what I'd endured. They were just outsiders, judging. I turned off my phone. Too tired to talk. I wanted to be alone. I went into my home office, a room I'd barely entered in 10 years. A thin layer of dust on the bookshelf. My books on landscape architecture, bonsai art, garden design. On the wall hung the first 3D design blueprint for Reed Landscapes, which I'd finished after working all night. It was once my pride, my ambition. I sat down, turned on the computer. It had been too long since I'd touched the design software. My hands trembled slightly, but my brain seemed to wake up. I opened a new file, started drawing. A rooftop garden on a skyscraper, full of sun, with hanging orchids and a small koi pond. I was drawing my new life. Once finished, I instinctively opened my social media. I posted one photo, a screenshot of the 3D design. My caption: First draft for a new life. Rebooting Reed Landscapes. I turned my phone back on. No texts, no calls. For the first time in 24 hours, silence. The well-meaning people had fallen silent. They no longer advised me to forgive. They knew I wasn't playing games. I wasn't just leaving Ethan. I was rebuilding my own empire. My post silenced the persuasion, but it ignited the dying powder keg that was Ethan Cole. He had completely become that man, a stranger, an enemy in my mind. He'd failed to pressure me through his mother, through his friends. Now he decided to confront me himself. He was surely still stuck abroad, penniless. The rage of being financially cut off, plus the shock that I dared to publicly sell the house and restart my career, turned him into a beast. The first message came from a new account. The name meant nothing to me, but I knew it was him. Ava Reed, you really are something. How dare you put my house up for sale? How dare you announce your new life? Who do you think you are to use that old name Reed Landscapes again? I read it. Still rage. Still arrogance. He still thought I was the weak kitten from 10 years ago. He still thought I'd be afraid. I didn't answer. I screenshotted it, sent it to Chloe. Additional evidence. Threatening content. A few hours later, a second message. More vulgar, more threatening. You're going to play dumb? You think you can sell the house without my signature? Don't even dream of it. When I get back to the States, I won't forgive you. How dare you touch my assets? How dare you touch my mother? You'll see. I'll make you kneel and beg for my forgiveness. I read it, but my heart didn't flinch. You won't forgive me? I hadn't known peace for 10 years. I lived in a false peace bought at the cost of my career, my pride. Now I'd rather be myself than have that false peace. I screenshotted it again, sent it to Chloe. Threat evidence number 2. A day passed. I didn't answer. His rage couldn't solve his hunger or buy a plane ticket. He began to be afraid. A man accustomed to luxury, to being served, now trapped in an unknown place without money. Rage couldn't defeat desperation. Around midnight, the third message came. From an unknown number. He'd borrowed it. The tone had completely changed. Ava, honey. Those 2 words made me nauseous. The man who was threatening and growling moments ago was now trying to be pathetic. Ava, I was wrong. That girl deceived me. I fell into her trap. Believe me. I just laughed. Even now, he blamed someone else. He still thought I was a fool who would fall for a few sweet words. The next message came immediately, as if he feared I wouldn't read it. Ava, I really have no money. I'm stuck here. I'm so hungry. Honey, don't you have any feelings left for me? Then came the line I knew was coming. It's 10 years. 10 years of marriage. How can you do this? 10 years? He dared to mention 10 years? The 10 years I buried my youth in the kitchen. The 10 years I gave up my ambition. The 10 years I worked like a slave for his family. He was trying to trade those 10 years for a plane ticket and forgiveness for his $4,000 meal with his mistress. Come back. I'll fix everything. I'll kick that girl out. I'll kneel and beg for your forgiveness, Ava. I looked at the phone screen. My heart was cold. Affection. The words sounded so cheap coming from his mouth. I screenshotted it again, sent it to Chloe. Additional evidence, manipulation and pleading. I turned off my phone, threw it on the velvet sofa. The room was so quiet, I could hear my own heartbeat. A heavy, tired beat. Ethan's false plea didn't move me. It filled me with disgust. 10 years. He dared to mention the affection of 10 years. Yes, 10 years. I had to find out how he valued those 10 years. The post about Reed Landscapes was impulsive, but now it reminded me who I was. Not just a crying housewife. I was an architect once, someone who worked with numbers and logic. Now, it was time to use that logic to price this marriage. I went into Ethan's study, a room I'd barely set foot in for 10 years. He always called it his private space. The smell of tobacco and old paper stung my nose. I turned on the light. Everything was artificially tidy. I opened the drawer of his hardwood desk where he kept important documents. Locked, of course. But I was his wife for 10 years. I knew where he kept the spare key. Under the money plant in the corner. The arrogance of a man who thought himself clever, thought his housewife would never find it. I opened the drawer. Documents, neatly arranged, contracts, insurance, bank statements from numerous accounts I didn't even know existed. He told me $2,500 a month was all our family expenses. It was just the tip of the iceberg. I sat on the floor, spread everything out. My eyes fixed on the numbers. My already cold heart felt like someone was squeezing it. Expense reports in the 6 figures. Cash withdrawals and entertainment expenses, weekly. And here was his official salary account. The real number was 5 times what he told me. 5 times. I laughed, but it felt like crying. I lived in a gigantic deception. I wasn't his wife. I was a housekeeper, paid $2,500 a month to take care of this brownstone and garden, while he built another home with our money. The money I saved by giving up Reed Landscapes. The $4,000 meal at Aria wasn't a mistake. It was a habit. Just one of countless performances I knew nothing about. I was so foolish to fall for. Hold down the fort at home. I trusted. You stay at home, I'll take care of everything. It turned out he was taking care of everything, in his world, a world without me. I sat in the pile of documents until the first sunlight. The coffee was cold. Disgusted, but I couldn't stop. I had to know everything. My eyes stopped on a particular transfer record, recurring. Not large, only $2,500, but regular as clockwork. My eyes, dry from sleeplessness, were pricked by the letters. Internal transfer beneficiary, Mrs. Rosa Gomez. Amount, $2,500. Exactly what he gave me every month. He was transferring the same amount to another woman. A woman's intuition whispered, "This isn't simple." Trembling hands moved the mouse. Transaction history. June 15th, May 15th, April 15th. I scrolled back. My heart pounded. Not recent. Ongoing. I kept scrolling. My mind grew colder. 2 years. Oh my God! 2 years without fail. Exactly $2,500 on the 15th of every month. I quickly typed into the calculator. $2,500 multiplied by 24 months. $60,000. Who was Mrs. Rosa Gomez? I searched my memories. Completely unknown. Not my relative, much less Ethan's. A friend? No one transfers $2,500 to a friend every month for 2 years. A chill ran down my spine. This wasn't a mistake. Not infidelity. This was a plan. A long-term, systematic plan. He wasn't just having an affair. He was supporting another woman. Investing our money, the money I saved by giving up Reed Landscapes, in another woman. This betrayal was far colder than the 30-second video. The kiss at Aria could be lust. But $60,000 over 2 years was calculation. Intentional deception. Complete disregard for me. Who did they think I was? An idiot? An ATM? I didn't cry. I couldn't. Only rage. A cold rage surging from my heart. Enough to burn these 10 years of false marriage. I didn't call Ethan. No insults. I did one thing. Screenshotted all the transaction records to Mrs. Rosa Gomez. First month to last. Total, $60,000. I sent everything to Chloe with a single line. Chloe, investigate who Mrs. Rosa Gomez is and what he supported with our $60,000 for the last 2 years. It was 6 a.m. Chloe was an early riser. I had to shower. My body smelled of hatred and cold sweat. The hot water poured over me, but I felt cold to the bone. $60,000. The number echoed. He took from me. From us. For 10 years, living at home, I was frugal. Refused designer bags, luxury trips, because he said we had to save for the future. His future, it turned out, with another woman. As I got out, a towel wrapped around my hair, my phone rang loudly. Chloe. Her voice wasn't a lawyer's. It was a friend's, so furious she was losing control. Are you sitting or standing now? Chloe's voice trembled. Standing. Tell me. Do you have the results? I answered calmly, holding back my wildly beating heart. Sit down! Chloe almost screamed. Sit down right now! I slumped onto the edge of the bed. Mrs. Rosa Gomez. Chloe took a deep breath, as if holding back a profanity. 60 years old. Outskirts of New York. No stable employment. 60 years old. More confused. Ethan would never. Who is she? My voice cracked. Chloe was silent, then said each word clearly, slowly. Ava, she's Charlotte's mother. Charlotte's mother. The phone fell from my hand, landing silently on the wool carpet. But something exploded in my ears. Charlotte's mother. The mother of the 20-something intern. The mother of the woman in the 30-second video. $60,000. $2,500 a month to the mistress's mother. I couldn't feel my emotions. Not pain. Disgust. Nauseating disgust. He wasn't just having an affair. He didn't just make a mistake. He was playing the role of a devoted son-in-law to his mistress's mother. With my money. With our money. I picked up the phone. Chloe was still screaming. Do you understand what I'm saying? That bastard was supporting not just his mistress, but her whole family. $2,500 a month. That woman was living like a queen. He was using your money, the money you sacrificed from Reed Landscapes, to support another family. Ava, are you listening to me? I'm listening. My voice was strangely calm. And I understand everything. What do you understand? Chloe stopped, surprised by my composure. I understand. I stood up, walked to the closet. He hasn't been my husband for a long time. He's been a thief and a con man. When the truth finally comes out, no matter how cruel, people no longer feel pain. They are only left with rage and a single goal. I cut her off. Chloe, prepare the divorce papers. But I don't just want a divorce. I don't just want half the assets. I want everything. I'll make him pay for these 10 years of youth. Principal, plus interest. I arrived at Chloe's office at 9 a.m. Not the soulless, swollen-eyed woman from a few days ago. I wore the white suit I used to defend my first Reed Landscapes project. Hair pulled back, makeup carefully applied. I was here not as a betrayed wife, but as a partner discussing a deal. Chloe looked at me, her gaze shifting from surprise to respect. You're amazing. I was worried you'd lock yourself in, crying or do something foolish. I smiled coldly. Crying, Chloe? Tears can't get back $60,000. Good. Chloe tapped her desk. Then let's get to work. With this $60,000 proof, we can not only file for divorce but for fraudulent dissipation of marital assets. If we go to court, you'll definitely get the majority. He won't be able to lift his head. You just have to sign here. Chloe slid a folder to me. Just as I reached for the pen, Chloe said, Wait. I looked at her. No, it's nothing. Chloe wasn't looking at me. She frowned, eyes fixed on her computer. I asked my paralegal to double-check the brownstones' information on the property registry for your sale, Eva. Chloe's voice turned serious. Come and see this. A premonition, worse than when I heard Mrs. Rosa Gomez, woke up in my heart. I went to her screen. It was the title deed for my house. Look at this. Chloe pointed to small print in the notes. Your house has a lien on it. It's mortgaged. Mortgaged? I repeated mechanically. That doesn't make sense. I didn't sign any documents. This house was my parents' money. It's mortgaged. Chloe's voice was like a wedge. And not for a small amount. He took out a $500,000 loan against it. If $60,000 was a slap, $500,000 was a bullet straight to my head. No, it's not possible! I screamed. My hard-won composure crumbled. Chloe, a $500,000 loan requires my signature. I'm a co-owner. Never. Calm down. Chloe grabbed my shoulder, shook me hard. Listen to me. Look at the date of the mortgage. I squinted. The date. 6 months ago. Exactly 6 months ago, Chloe said, her voice filled with rage. Remember? Did you sign any strange documents 6 months ago? 6 months ago. My head spun. 6 months ago. Yes. Ethan came home, face alight with excitement. He talked about a golden opportunity, a large capital needed for an important project. He said it was an internal guarantee document. His boss was waiting. He brought a thick folder, told me to sign quickly, pointing to an X. We have to trust each other as a couple, right? Don't you trust me? Oh my God! I crumbled. I signed. He said it was an internal guarantee document. He pointed where to sign. I didn't read, Chloe. Oh, Chloe! Chloe slammed her fist on the desk. The boom startled me. That bastard tricked you! He tricked you into signing a power of attorney or a mortgage consent. He took $500,000 from your parents' house. I didn't hear anything else. $60,000 to support his mistress. And this $500,000? Top secret survey trip to the Hamptons project. Suddenly, I understood everything. He didn't go to investigate. He went to finalize that $500,000. He was planning to escape. He was going to leave with $500,000 and his young mistress, leaving me with a foreclosed house and a gigantic debt. The $4,000 meal at Aria? Just the celebration of his successful deal. Eva! Chloe's voice brought me back. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned. Listen carefully. This is no longer just a divorce. This is no longer a civil case. She grabbed my hand tightly, emphasizing each word. This is a crime. Your husband is a criminal. Fraud and embezzlement. I looked at Chloe. The tears had dried. The pain was gone. Only cold emptiness. Yes, I said, my voice eerily calm. What should I do with a criminal, Chloe? What's the procedure for filing a criminal complaint? Chloe's voice echoed in the quiet office. Criminal, fraud, penal. Each word a hammer blow to my chest. $500,000. The number was so large it felt abstract. Not money. An abyss. I must have staggered. Chloe quickly held me up, sat me down. Eva, are you listening? You have to calm down. Now is not the time to faint. Calm down? How could I? 6 months ago, I remembered vividly. Ethan, full of excitement. A golden opportunity. An internal investment project only for executives. He said it was the opportunity to change our lives, that I'd never have to worry again. He brought a thick folder of technical jargon I didn't understand. He flipped pages, pointing to an X. Sign quickly. My boss is waiting. Just an internal guarantee. We have to trust each other. Right? Don't you trust me? I trusted him. As I had for 10 years. I signed without reading a word. I signed the power of attorney. The mortgage consent. The death sentence of my marriage and my assets. How stupid I was. The emotional betrayal hurt, but this financial deception, this cold calculation to embezzle using my absolute trust, filled me with disgust. He was not just a bad husband. He was a professional con man. Chloe, I looked at her, my voice dry. $60,000 to support his mistress. And this $500,000? What was he going to do with it? Chloe's eyes were full of pity, but firm. You still don't know? He scammed you. He used your parents' house, your assets, to borrow $500,000. He was preparing his escape. He was going to leave with that $500,000 and his mistress. Leaving you with a gigantic debt, a house that would be foreclosed on. My heart stopped. Selling the house. Now, selling this house wasn't revenge. It wasn't even to stop the bleeding. It was a necessity. I had to sell this house to the buyer. I needed the 90% cash they promised. I needed that money not to get rich, but to immediately pay off the illegal $500,000 debt to the bank. If I didn't pay, the bank would foreclose. And I, as the co-owner, the one who signed under deception, would be the first to be held responsible. I would lose everything. The house, my parents' money, and be in debt for life. Ethan Cole. He didn't just want to leave me. He wanted to destroy me. Bury me alive in that debt and shame. Ava! Chloe grabbed my hand tightly. Listen to me. This fight has changed. It's no longer a simple civil divorce case. It's criminal. You are no longer just a wife demanding justice, but a victim who has to fight for her own freedom. I left Chloe's office as if my feet weren't touching the ground. I don't know how I drove back. Everything around me was shrouded in fog. The world was noisy, cars busy, but I was in a soundproof glass cage. I slumped onto the steps outside the orchid garden. The $25,000 garden. The garden I was once proud of. Now, it was the only thing that could save me. Everything became cruelly clear. I connected all the dots. 6 months ago, he tricked me into signing mortgage documents. The bank disbursed $500,000. He had the money, a gigantic amount, enough for a new life. He started spending more blatantly. This business trip wasn't sudden. It was scheduled. The 15-day, top-secret geological survey trip to the Hamptons was a lie. A carefully crafted lie to give him time to transfer money and disappear. That he took his mistress? Not because she was the reason. She was just the prize he gave himself after a successful fraudulent deal. The $4,000 meal at Aria. Oh my God! I let out a dry laugh. Not client entertainment. Not a mistake. It was a celebration. Ethan Cole was celebrating, with my money, using our house as collateral, the fact that he had just swindled me out of $500,000. He celebrated his impending escape. He celebrated that I was the fool who didn't know I would soon be mired in gigantic debt. His contempt, his cruelty, went beyond infidelity. This was calculated evil. He didn't just want my money. He wanted to destroy me. He wanted me to never hold my head up, to live forever in debt and shame. I immediately picked up my phone. My hands weren't trembling. They were cold and steady. I called Mark, the real estate agent. Mr. Mark? My voice was calm. It's Ava. Cancel all other house viewings. I've decided I'm selling to the American client. Tell them I accept all their conditions. I want to sign the papers this weekend. I need the cash. The sooner the better. Mark sounded surprised, but quickly grasped the situation. Fantastic, ma'am. I'll call them right away. They'll be delighted. I hung up. I had no other choice. I had to sell. This wasn't about divorce asset division. It was to save my own life. He wanted to bury me alive, but he didn't know. I was the seed. And Reed Landscapes would rise from these ashes. I sat in the brownstone, now just an asset. I turned off my phone. No more threats, no false pleas from Ethan. No calculated crying from his mother. I needed silence. In that silence, I wondered, what was the man who just swindled $500,000, enjoying his business trip with his mistress, doing now? I couldn't see him. But later, when everything came to light, I knew that even what I imagined was nothing compared to the cruelty of the real facts. While I struggled with a $500,000 debt, Ethan and Charlotte were on a 5-star yacht, living the extravagant life he once despised. They drank the most expensive wine, ate food I never dreamed of. They spent money like water. My money. But all parties have an end. My phone call, the freezing of accounts, the black card cancellation, it was like throwing a bucket of ice water on their imperial dream. The black card, symbol of Ethan's power, was declined when he tried to pay for the yacht rental the next day. He was stunned. He pulled out his second, third cards. All joint accounts frozen. His rage, the one in his 66 missed calls, was real. He couldn't believe his docile wife dared to cut off his lifeline. And the fight began. Not mine but theirs. I could imagine how Charlotte, accustomed to wealth, would react when her gold mine ran dry. The sweet voice of Mr. Cole surely turned into a sharp scream. You promised you could take care of everything. You said the world would be mine. And now what? The cards don't work. Who's paying the hotel bill? You're a con man. And Ethan, the patriarchal man who considered himself a king? How could he endure that humiliation? Financially betrayed by his wife, now bitten by his mistress. I imagined him screaming at her as loudly as he screamed at me. Shut up! If you hadn't demanded that $2,000 bag, we'd have money for a plane ticket. You're a parasite who only knows how to spend. Their love, built on my betrayal and my money, was more fragile than seafoam. When the money was gone, only hatred remained, tearing each other apart. The $4,000 party at Aria was their high point. This was the hell they created. I lived in silence for 2 days. I organized all my Reed Landscapes documents, old blueprints, incomplete contracts. I wiped down every trophy, every thank you plaque. I realized that in 10 years, I'd lost not just money, but myself. I didn't hear from Ethan. He was silent. Eleanor, too. I assumed they were preparing a bigger storm. On the 3rd day, as I prepared for the house sale, my phone dinged. I was so tired of threats or pleas. But this time, it wasn't Ethan. It was an unknown number. Charlotte. Again. Last time, a provocative bikini. Now what? Had she found a solution with Ethan, wanted to show off their continued happiness? My first instinct was to block her. But something stopped me. I opened the message. No photo, no provocation. Just 3 words. Mrs. Reed, save me. I was stunned. Save me? What game was she playing? I didn't answer. I didn't believe a single tear. A person who willingly accepted $60,000 to support her mother from another woman's husband was capable of anything. A few minutes later, since I didn't answer, a flood of messages came. A long paragraph, as if pre-written. Ma'am, I was wrong. I don't dare ask for your forgiveness. Just save me. That man deceived me. Mr. Cole is not human. He's a demon. I just laughed. Demon. A few days ago, wasn't. Sophisticated Mr. Cole. Her gold mine? He ran out of money. That was the next message. You blocked the cards. He doesn't have a penny. He hit me. He locked me in the hotel. He said if I didn't get him money, he would sell me. Ma'am, I'm so scared. I escaped. I'm at the airport now. I don't have a cent. I wasn't a psychologist, but I pieced together the full picture. The yacht fight was over. Ethan, penniless, revealed his true nature. Not a sophisticated gentleman, but a cornered tyrant. A thug? And Charlotte realized she'd bet on the wrong horse. She didn't love Ethan. She loved his money. When the money ran out, she fled. Fled from Ethan, and the chaos she helped create. But why message me? The last message explained it all. Ma'am, I know you're going to sue him. I have what you need. I have proof. Proof that will make that man unable to lift his head. I can help you. I only ask you forgive me for the money we received from him. My mother's sin. I will pay it back. I promise. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. She wasn't my friend. She was a rat fleeing a sinking ship, looking for a new one, selling her old partner for a low price. She thought she could use me. She didn't know I also needed a tool. I looked at her message. Mrs. Reed, save me. Just days ago, she mocked me as older. This change was dramatic. I didn't trust anything from her. A person who gladly accepted $60,000 was capable of anything. I believed this was another act, a more cunning trap. I didn't answer. I wanted to see what else she'd act out. When I stayed silent, she panicked. A flood of messages. Mrs. Reed, please answer me. I know you hate me. I deserve to be hated. But Mr. Cole is not human. He's a demon. Demon. He wasn't the sophisticated Mr. Cole she boasted about. He ran out of money. You blocked the cards and he doesn't have a penny. He hit me. Ma'am. He hit me. The next message was a photo, a selfie, not pretty. One cheek swollen and bruised, a long scratch near her mouth. I escaped. I'm at the airport now. I don't have a cent. I'm using borrowed Wi-Fi to message you. He said if I didn't get him money, he would sell me. Ma'am, I'm so scared. I was wrong. I was foolish. I just want to go home. Should I feel pity? No. Only fatigue. This was the price of greed. She gleefully enjoyed my money. Now she had to pay for that party. But I remained patient. I knew this rat didn't come crying just to vent. She had bait. And it came. Ma'am, I know you're going to sue him. I have this. It's proof that will make that man unable to lift his head. He hid it in the safe in my apartment, and I stole it. I only ask that you forgive me and my mother for the money we received from him. I will pay it back. I promise. I just want to live in peace. Proof. The coup de grace. I raised the corner of my mouth. This rat was clever. She knew she needed insurance when she fled. I typed. My first response. What airport are you at now? Instant reply. I'm still stuck abroad. I just escaped to the airport. I don't care where you are. I wrote. I also don't care if he hit you. That's your problem and his. But I'm interested in the proof you mentioned. Yes. Yes, it's true. They're double contracts, tax evasion documents. He said it was his biggest secret, how he got rich. He said if it got out, he'd go to jail. Tax evasion. Double contracts. A strange emotion stirred. So, the empire he built, the facade of the sophisticated rich director, was built on crime. Monday at 3 p.m. I sent. My lawyer's office address, 30 Park Place. Get back to the States however you can. Bring the proof. We'll talk. I hung up without waiting for her response. I knew she would cling to this as her last lifeline. She would still think I was stupid, that I still loved him, wanted to talk privately. She'd come with the hope of reversing the situation with crocodile tears. She didn't know she was walking straight into his final judgment. Chloe's office at 9 a.m. today was different. The air was tense. I chose a black suit instead of white. The color of the end. I sat there with Chloe by my side. Across from us was another lawyer, Mr. Herrera from J Capital, the investment fund. He had a solemn face, piercing eyes. Ethan arrived 5 minutes late. He opened the door himself, but seeing me, seeing Chloe, and especially seeing Mr. Herrera, he froze. He looked wretched. Beard unkempt, hair greasy, his designer suit wrinkled and smelling of fear and sweat. He was haggard, eyes bloodshot and sunken. Ava, honey. He tried a pitiful voice, tried to approach me. Sit down. Chloe growled, pointing to the only empty chair in the middle of the room. Ethan stopped. He looked at me, at Mr. Herrera. He began to realize something was very wrong. He awkwardly pulled up the chair and sat. Mr. Ethan Cole. Chloe began, her voice devoid of emotion. Today we are not here to talk about 10 years of affection. Chloe pressed a remote. The large screen on the wall lit up. Let's get straight to the point. Image 1, the 30-second video at Aria. The scene where he kissed Charlotte. Ethan closed his eyes, gritted his teeth. This is I. Next. Chloe cut him off. Just look at the screen. She moved to the next slide. The bikini photo on the yacht. Silence. Chloe moved on. The bank statement. The $2,500 circled in red. A table calculating the total of $60,000. Ethan began to turn pale. Next, the Brownstones' mortgage contract. The number $500,000 enlarged, followed by the signature analysis result. The signature of Mrs. Ava Reed is concluded to have been obtained under fraudulent pretenses. That's nonsense. Ethan screamed. You signed it yourself. Still trying to lie? I opened my mouth, my first words since he entered. You said it was an internal guarantee document, right? Ethan was speechless. He looked at me as if he'd seen a ghost. Finally, Chloe pressed the last slide. The folder of double contracts that Charlotte brought. This time, Ethan didn't scream. He just sat there panting. Sweat poured down him. He knew there was no denying it. At that moment, Mr. Herrera, the lawyer from J Capital, spoke. His voice was low and firm. Mr. Cole, I represent the J Capital Investment Fund. We have obtained all these documents. We are officially reporting you for commercial fraud and embezzlement. You have been deceiving us for 5 years. No, Mr. Herrera. I was deceived. That girl, Charlotte, she seduced me. Ethan turned to me. He tried to crawl out of his chair and kneel. Ava, save me. Tell him to stop. 10 years. It's been 10 years. I looked at him. The man I once loved was groveling at my feet. My heart didn't stir. No pity, no satisfaction. Only emptiness. Mr. Cole, I said, you don't need to beg me or Mr. Herrera. The person you need to talk to is not us. Ethan looked panicked. Just then, the conference room door opened. 2 uniformed police officers and 2 detectives in plain clothes entered. Mr. Ethan Cole, one detective said, showing his badge. We are the NYPD's Financial Crimes Task Force. We received a report of your tax evasion and fraud. Please accompany us to the station for questioning. Ethan was petrified. He looked at the officers, then at me. The look was no longer pleading. It was pure hatred. But it was too late. 2 cold silver handcuffs snapped around his wrists. He was dragged past me. My 10 years of marriage, my 10 years of youth, my reed landscapes that I had given up, officially concluded with the dry click of those handcuffs. 6 months later, I heard news of him through Chloe. The trial was held. Ethan Cole was sentenced to a total of 18 years on charges of fraud for embezzling $500,000 from me, fraud against J Capital, and tax evasion. 18 years for a lifetime of greed and falsehood. His mother, Eleanor, couldn't overcome the shock. She suffered a stroke, paralyzed on one side. Old neighbors say she's bedridden, crying and cursing, but no one cares anymore. Charlotte, due to her confession and returning the entire $60,000, received a suspended sentence. They say she disappeared, went back to her hometown to live another life. I no longer felt hatred or satisfaction. I just felt that everything had returned to its course. You reap what you sow. I stood in my new office. Not large, a small penthouse in an old building, but full of sun. The walls were covered with design blueprints. They'd been forgotten for 10 years, but my skills hadn't disappeared. They were like seeds buried under the rubble of a marriage. Now, the storm had passed, and they began to sprout. Chloe came in with 2 coffees. What's wrong? You just got the landscape design contract for the entire new riverfront development. Why the long face? I smiled, took the coffee. I was thinking about what kind of trees to use for the central lake. Chloe laughed. Seeing you now makes me feel that this is the Ava Reed I knew. I looked out the window. The sky was very blue today. People were busy, but my heart was at peace. I sold my $25,000 orchid garden, but I got back my own entire sky. I didn't need to do charity work to prove I was okay. I just had to live well, do my job well. For 10 years as a housewife, I